Hey folks, it's Jeff. Just got a little video here on some homemade plywood veneer fidget spinners. So there's a guy at work that was printing some of these on his 3D printer and thought he was the best thing in spinners, and I thought, well, I could probably build some out of wood. So the concept here, it started out just as just solid wood using some hard maple. Made a couple different designs. Actually, it started with this one, just making a round disc using basic geometry, and worked okay. It just they weren't always balanced, and you can tell just by holding them up and see if they will stay in any spot, and they don't actually, typically, just because it's so difficult to accurately drill the holes in. So I had made a bunch of these solid wood ones, and they were so-so, and I ended up buying one of these, a little more, probably more than this is like a $12 spinner with a hybrid ceramic bearing in it, and it's actually balanced really well. It'll stay virtually anywhere. And I've been noticed the marker all over it. I've been using this as a pattern to build these. I tried other designs as well, just like two bearings, so on. But anyways, this particular style works really well, and so after building them out of a couple out of solid wood, I thought, as far as long-term stability, the plywood effect would have some better lasting value. So you can see, I don't know if the camera will focus or not, but there's, I don't know, 12 layers of veneer or so in there. That makes these up. There's made a few more than this that aren't here, but you can kind of see the layers in there, and you can use different combinations. Even had some dyed veneers and things. So basically, I had these metal plates laying around. They have holes in the four corners, and it makes an outstanding little tiny veneer press. I don't have any idea what this was originally for, or exactly, I don't even exactly remember why I even have it, but this is what I use to glue up, putting wax paper down, gluing layer after layer, 12 layers or so, alternating grain, and you end up with, slabs like this. Which, by the way, notice the glue does leach through the final layer of veneer, which you have to deal with. It'd probably be better if I'd glue them up a little thin and then let them dry thoroughly, and then glue another layer of veneer on the outside after the fact. Which, by the way, if you have a good solid press, you have to start a little thicker than you think for the veneer, because at least in my case, this press will compress the wood to quite an incredible rate. So the first ones I did out of veneer, this one in particular, it's actually, the wood is thinner than the bearings themselves, so they stick out of one side a little bit. Any rate, whatever. It's just kind of a fun project, mostly because I can. So at any rate, this one used as a pattern, I literally clamp it over this board and use a transfer punch. This is just a cheap Harbor Freight transfer punch to mark the holes. And additionally, use a Forstner bit to mark these radiuses. So in other words, line up in 3 spots here to create these. And then the trick is figuring out how to accurately drill those holes. Hold on. And a quick comment about the bearings. The preferred bearing I use is pure ceramic. You can buy them on Amazon, but they're not cheap. They're $8 or $9 a piece, but they will spin for typically 4 to 5 times longer than your standard bearing. All bearings are not created equal. This one, these are all 608 skateboard bearings, and this one won't hardly spin at all. This one a little bit better. I tried some of these little mini bearings. These are I think they're called R188 bearings. Not too good luck with those. And then there's also, as I mentioned earlier, this is what's called a hybrid bearing. So the races are steel, but the balls are ceramic, and they're somewhere in between. At any rate, the pure ceramic are, if you really want the ultimate, that's the way to go. So the process to actually transfer the pattern to your blank, I start with some masking tape over the blank. Makes it a little clearer to register those marks. I'll trim that tape off. I'll be right back. Alright, so masking tape, pattern, and the clamp. Got to figure out how to get the clamp on there without disrupting the holes. Kind of like that. Snug. Transfer punch. I got one of these fast cap long tip markers, and no rocket science here, just angle it in a little bit, trace your pattern. Where the clamp is, you'll have to talk about that in a minute. Just redo. We have one secondary clamping we got to do. And then for the Forstner bit thing, I made up a little shim because there's a little bit of weirdness going on. There's a gate, plastic injection molding gate in one of these. To get everything kind of consistent, I use this little shim in there. Transfer those locations. It's kind of an awkward process, but and then we use a second clamp. Transfer the last hole. So here's what we got. We just got 7 dimples and a crude outline. So as far as the drill press setup, I got the scrap block clamped down, and so when the well, by the way, it's a 22 millimeter bit for the 608 bearing. Kind of hard to find online a little bit, just because I think they're popular. But at any rate, I put the scrap block down so it kind of creates a zero clearance drilling pattern. Set the depth stop on the drill press so it stops in the same spot, and you don't get any tear out that way. So far my best success comes with, don't turn the drill press on, find the center spur in the bit and lower it down, a little pressure, turn it on, and drill them like that. Your mileage will vary, but that's my best success, is doing that. So we'll drill a few more. Which, by the way, you have to be kind of double jointed to draw the quill down and hit the power switch in one fluid motion, but practice makes perfect. There's the back side. We're not getting any tear out, which with veneer is pretty easy to do, actually. Now if you did all this right, you'd have nice consistent spacing around here, and I don't think I do. I think this one's out a little bit, and that will come back to haunt us. That's where I get to the really tough to get the balance of these just right. Of course, the drill press has a little bias into every cut, wants to pull a certain way. So later when we come to sand the final shape of this, you do what you can. All right, we're just gonna trim this on the bandsaw with the 1/8 inch blade. Staying outside the lines. So, a little rough, but give her a little sand and see what happens. I picked up this little Kalamazoo sander on Craigslist a couple months ago for $100, and a little sweetheart it is. It just tracks dead on. Really clever little tracking system. This is a spring-loaded post, and it with one tensioning screw you can rotate it to make sure you're tracking right in the middle of the wheels. And I'll probably just sand a little bit because I don't want to turn the vac on. I normally run the vac, and I'll just show you quick. So in one direction you can use the lines. On the back side you don't have any lines, so you got to wing it. This is still a little rough, but because it's plywood, you can actually go pretty thin on these, and they're strong. And we're even going to run a round over on them later on the router table. But I'm going to go ahead and sand these up, and we'll be right back. Yeah, so I didn't show it, but I have a little spindle sander here too. You can sort of clean up the transitions a little bit here with that, if you happen to have one of those little gadgets. Who knows how this is going to be. It's off a little bit, so at this point what we're going to do is put a couple bearings in it and just see if it's by chance balanced. Okay, all right, well, I did run this over some sandpaper on just some sticky back sandpaper on a piece of MDF to flat, kind of clean up both faces, and just an 1/8 inch roundover bit in the table. And because I'm kind of chicken, I use a push block. Give this a try. So I'll ultimately do both sides, but keep going around and around until you're really satisfied you got all the spots. I'm going to do the other side and we'll be right back. So anyway, here's what we came up with. They're kind of cool looking, just because it's such a unique little piece of wood. Haven't tested it yet. We'll put the bearings in here, see what happens. Which, by the way, once you're satisfied with your finish and fit, you can use a little. I use the gel super glue, a couple dots on each one, and it seems to be a little better than the regular liquid super glue, so you don't get it inside your bearings. And the moment of truth. See how we do. It's off a little, but it'll do. Anyway, it makes kind of a cool little spinner. And then so far I've just purchased these caps off of Amazon, and might someday get brave and try something on the lathe so we could make sort of more of an all wood version, but kind of a fun, cool little project. Anyways, thanks for watching. See ya.